Smalley shot dead. Another school fire in the interior. And Guyanese Italian JV wins contract to make gas pipeline. I'm Rico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. To see what's happening, send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. It would seem that the legend of Smalley has come to a close. Notorious murderer and prison escapee Royden Williams, also known as Smalley, was allegedly shot dead by the joint services during an armed confrontation today. His accomplice, Odell Roberts, was also killed in the confrontation, according to the police. Williams had escaped from Mazzarini prison 2 weeks prior, resulting in 6 people being charged in connection with his escape. Williams had been convicted in connection with the Bartica massacre and the murder of a member of the Guyana Defense Force, and was facing the death penalty. But despite swearing up and down that they did in fact kill him in a shootout, there are still many people online who just won't believe the police until they see the body, which really tells you just how low people's trust is for the police. Today, executive member of the PNC, Merwin Williams, called for a thorough and open investigation into the deadly Mahdia school dorm fire. The president has already declared a commission of inquiry to be launched to investigate the fire, and they have already started assessing schools nationwide for fire hazards. Nevertheless, Williams said the families of the deceased, as well as the community of Mahdia, need closure, and that closure can only be given if there is an open, transparent, and honest account of what took place. Speaking of families needing closure, the Ghana Trade Union Congress has accused the government of parading the victims and their families around, thus possibly causing further trauma. The union called for therapy and support for the survivors and their families, and condemned the murder charges against the 15-year-old girl, calling for the charges against the girl to be dropped, pending a complete assessment of the matter. The union said it welcomes the president's promise for a commission of inquiry, but believes the terms of reference should be made known to the public first. The Ghana Trade Union Congress also called for the COI to identify those responsible for the safety and security of the building and ensure all dormitory facilities across the nation meet building standards to prevent further tragedies. On a related note, the fire service is set to receive assistance from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives under the United States Department of Justice in helping to investigate the fire. The Ministry of Home Affairs confirmed that the ATF advisor has already arrived. They've already met with the minister, and the advisor and a team from the fire service are expected to fly to Mahdia to inspect the site of the fire. Sadly, there was yet another fire, this time at the St. Angela Girls Hostel in Karasabai Village, South Pacaraimans. That hostel dorm was partially destroyed by fire early this morning after 4 male students threatened to set the building on fire. According to the fire service, all female students were able to evacuate safely and the fire was extinguished by police and villagers. The 4 students accused of having set the fire have supposedly confessed to the crime and are currently in custody assisting with further investigations. Attention truck owners, between potholes, bad drivers, and high fuel prices, you've got 99 problems to deal with. But with Powered Automotive, your engine ain't one. That's because they stock high-quality parts and spares you need at prices you can't beat. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles, or call or WhatsApp them at telephone number 6970171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Ghana. Tired of waiting on hold, tracking down a delivery driver, or carrying cash for your food orders? GT Eat is here to make your life easier. Ghana's first cashless food ordering and delivery app. Choose from Georgetown's top restaurants, pay securely with your card, and get your food delivered right to your doorstep. With the convenience of being able to order from your phone and the added feature of tracking your order, GT Eats is the ultimate solution for all your food needs. Download the app on Apple and Android stores and start ordering the easy way today. The government denies involvement in the eviction of squatters at Foothill on the Sustek-Linden Highway, stating that it is an ongoing dispute between the squatters and the private landowner. The landowner obtained a court order to remove the squatters, and on May the 31st, some structures were demolished. the squatters protested, blocking roads and lighting fires, and the joint services intervened, firing shots and hitting some protesters with pellets. The government clarified that it met with the squatters 2 months ago and committed to fast-tracking their land applications. Nonetheless, the confrontation between the people and landowner restarted earlier today, only to again be quashed by the joint services. Now for an update to yesterday's report. The police found suspected poison and a note near the bodies of 38-year-old Petroas Lachman Ross and her 13-year-old daughter, Gabriel Ross. The woman's estranged husband discovered the bodies after breaking down the door to their home in New Providence, East Bank, Demerara. The police believe the two died between May the 23rd and May the 31st, and investigations are ongoing. Now for another update from a previous report. Orlando Charles, a pilot and businessman, was placed on $1.3 million bail after denying trafficking 16 Venezuelan women between March and May of 2023. The case was adjourned to June the 14th for disclosure. Charles allegedly trafficked the women between the Mazarini River and Georgetown, and the charges were laid in keeping with legal advice given by the Director of Public Prosecution. The President of the Dominican Republic, Luis Abinadar, arrived in Guyana for an official state visit and was welcomed by the National Assembly. During his visit, Abinadar is expected to have meetings with the President, the Secretary General of CARICOM, and formally inaugurate the Dominican Embassy in Guyana. He will also hold a meeting with the Dominican diaspora in Guyana, which I didn't even know existed, so good for them. Now for today's oil update. ExxonMobil Guyana has awarded the final major contract for the gas energy project to a joint venture of Geico Construction and General Services and Sika for the onshore pipeline segment. The pipeline will transport natural gas from Exxon's Liza field to the Wales Development Zone onshore, with installation expected to begin in mid-July and last for 1 whole year. The project is expected to have a workforce of over 100 people during construction, with at least 60% Guyanese nationals. The cost for the installation of the pipelines and associated infrastructure is well over $1 billion, with the government expected to make annual payments of $55 million over the 20-year lifespan of the project. Yep, $55 million a year for the next 20 years.
Robbery season might be over, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home or business with Sheriff Security. Sheriff Security has well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. They speed even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today.
Now for our Uncut News Feels Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you fare it least to us. Last night I asked, where do you live? And what are some problems your local NDC are not addressing?
But before we get to that, I'm proud to announce our latest addition to the Noble Army, Richard Singh, who is supporting us at the reporter level, the highest level of monthly support we've received so far. So thank you, Richard Singh. And also a special thank you to David Griffith, Dion Nascimento, Project Zero, and Dimitri V. I appreciate you all. And if you're watching at home and you'd like to support our movement, just hit the link in the video description.
Barefoot Wanderers telling us about the shenanigans going on at the Luzignon NDC. Apparently they're assisting squatters currently living on government reserves to get to transport at Line Top in Good Hope. But they personally are pumping off so much water every week during rainy season that they're really unsure what the squatters are going to do once the 4-lane road is built, seeing as it is actually higher than the reserve on which they are currently squatting. And because they don't want any water erosion on their land, they're really unsure what exactly the Luzignon NDC is doing because they're not thinking proactively. But who's going to be left with the water erosion to their flat house and land? I really don't understand. We've had squatting and we've had water issues since the beginning of this nation. Why haven't we figured this out yet? Jay Jairam says the Corriverton NDC is not handling corruption. Unfortunately, I wish I could say that was unique to you, but it's all too common. Anthony Gomes says the Cumberland NDC in East Kanji seems to be wasting taxpayer money. The vice chairman bought the machine to dig the drains, and to their disbelief, the man did a completely incomplete and nonsensical job, causing many villagers on the 2nd Street to have flooded homes. Again, it's always these drainage and water issues. Why haven't we figured it out yet? Now for tonight's question. The GPF claims to have taken out one of the nation's most notorious mass murderers. How do you feel about it? I've noticed some people don't believe it because the police haven't shown any photos, but I really want to hear from you. How do you feel about this? Is this a good thing, bad thing, or what? I really am unsure. So, I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nico Bulford saying good night, folks.